Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Empowering People, Enabling Business. My name is Amelina, training coordinator at Genashtim. Today, we'll be diving deep into a topic that is reshaping the way we learn and acquire knowledge e learning. So, we live in a world today where information is just a click away, and e learning has emerged as a powerful tool that has the potential to revolutionize education. Well, actually, I would argue that it has already transformed the means of education. So, e learning is impacting all of us in many ways, and perhaps its most significant impact is on PWDs or persons with disabilities and their access to education. So, if you're curious about the transformative power of e learning, you've come to the right podcast. We'll uncover the potential of e learning, the tools for accessibility, and the stories that remind us all of the incredible capabilities of people with disabilities. With me today is a remarkable individual. He's the head of Genashtim's client support department and a PWD himself. It's Villy Villano. Hi, Villy. Welcome and thank you for sharing your voice in our podcast today.
Hey, Emelina, how are you doing?
Good, good. How are you, sir?
Good, good. You don't need to call me sir. You're overhyping me there.
All right. So I'm really excited to hear your insights and stories on today's topic. But first, I think we all want to get to know you a little bit better. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what are you passionate about?
All right. My name is Villy Villano. Actually my first name starts with letter V as in victory. So it's not your common B as in boy. Because my family name also starts with letter V. And actually my middle name also has a V, Sandoval. So yeah, I'm from the Philippines. Currently I'm working as the client support manager for Genashtim. But previously, I was a high school teacher. I was teaching history, so that's my passion. I love history and traveling. I love to travel with my family, and also I like to collect die-cast toy cars. So yeah, and my wife is a special education teacher, and I have a daughter. She's already in second year college, taking up animation. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting life you have there. All right. So we mentioned that you are a PWD. So can you share and explain to us what your disability is?
Sure. So I'm what you can call a visually impaired person, or to put it simply, I'm a totally blind person, as in like I have zero vision. But I only got blind when I was around 16 years old. So that was like when I was in high school. It was more of caused by an illness. So yeah, so you could say I have a pretty good picture or an idea of how the world looks like, or at least back then. But before being blind, I was already wearing a pair of thick eyeglasses, so it wasn't like a perfect vision when I was growing up. So yeah, one of the visually impaired team members in Genashtim.
Yeah, that's interesting. So was it a gradual loss in vision, or was it like one day you woke up and you had total blindness? Because
It
it's
was a
different for everyone, right?
yeah,
Different for
yeah.
different people.
I would say it's a gradual. I think it was like a span of 1 year that before I became totally blind. So kind of slowly fading, vision. You could say back then it's like I'm not sure how you call it, but is it fortunate that I was having that fading vision and I did get to see things, or was it better to just have it, dark in one go? But yeah, it was span of 1 year.
Mm, yeah, I think that's something that people in our blind community debate of like, is it better to have like gradual change or just like at one go total
Yeah,
darkness?
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Villy, you're actually the third guest that I've had on our podcast who has served 10 years and more at Genashtim. So, I mean, that is an amazing feat in itself. And I feel incredibly lucky and honored to be given this opportunity to speak to, our longest serving staff members. So I know that your career thus far in Genashtim is very colorful and illustrious. So can you walk us through your career journey thus far in Genashtim?
Yeah, sure. So I joined Genashtim back in 2009. I started as a freelance language coach. So I was one of the first blind coaches at that time. But I officially joined the company in 2010. So you could say I'm officially in 13 years in running in the company. So yeah, I started as a language coach for Epic Online. So Epic is the online English program of Genashtim. So it's a one-on-one coaching where we coach different students from different parts of Asia to build their confidence in the language. So after, yeah, as I mentioned, after a year, I was absorbed by the company and I became the first QA analyst. So what I do back then was like I would listen to the recordings of the session and evaluate the progress of the students and also making sure that coaches are conducting the session accordingly and also evaluate if there are any concerns or any issues that we need to attend to. Yeah, and after that, I became a QA supervisor. So I had people under me at that time. Slowly, we were slowly building a small team for the QA team at that time. And then a few years after that, I was assigned to content development team. So at that time, the content development team is responsible for developing the content or the lesson materials for Epic Online. And then later on, I was assigned now to my current role to as a client support manager for eCornell. So eCornell is the online executive education of Cornell University. So we are their exclusive or authorized distributor, yeah, outside North America. Personally, I'm also, you could say, overseeing teams like learning support services, also language department, and I'm also involved with business development team. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's my current role.
No, yeah, we can see like not only that you like move up the ranks, but you've also kind of worked with various departments through the years. And yeah, so you heard there, folks, like he's been at Genashtim for 13 years, but Genashtim is 15 years old, so he's been there since Genashtim was 2.
Yeah.
So he's seen it all basically. All right, so our listeners may or may not know the history behind Genashtim's founding, so I'll just give a quick history lesson. So basically, our CEO Thomas Ng was on garden leave when he was stationed in the Philippines, and during that time, he was introduced to an organization that was training blind individuals on how to use and navigate a computer. The purpose of this training was basically to upskill these individuals in the hopes that they would find employment opportunities when they're done or when they finish the training. But unfortunately, these individuals were not being hired. And Thomas, seeing how talented and skilled these people are, took it upon himself to work with agencies and organizations to help them find work or help them to get hired. But he also had no luck in doing so. And so there's a saying out there, sometimes the most reliable helping hand is at the end of your own arm. So Thomas demonstrated that very well because he basically started his own company and had these PWDs work in that company. And this company is now what we know as Genashtim. Right, so Genashtim is currently registered in Malaysia and Singapore, but its humble beginnings did start in the Philippines, where you are from, Billy. So,
Yeah.
how did you get to know of Genashtim?
Well, you mentioned this NGO, right?
Mm.
So, well, before that, I was a high school teacher. As I mentioned a while ago, I was teaching special students actually, and also history as a subject. And at that time, like, I was doing good with my job as a teacher at that time, but I felt like I want to be independent in what I do with my job, right? And I thought like I want to do something that I don't need to rely the assistance of anyone. So because when I was teaching, I had to have someone to assist me in checking test papers, administering the test, putting up visual aids and during the class and all that. So it wasn't that satisfying, you would say. And so I decided to, look for a job that I can do on my own. And it was very fortunate at that time that yes, Genashim was looking for PWDs that can work remotely and at the same time for to become a language coach. And I was introduced by this NGO here in the Philippines. And yeah, that's how I came to know about Genashtim as an organization.
Yeah, I think, you mentioned that you wanted to be kind of independent in what you do. I think that resonates with a lot of our listeners who are persons with disabilities who may be working at the moment, but are kind of using assistance in a sense. And, although we're very, very appreciative of the people who are helping us,
Yeah.
sometimes it's still kind of it's a dab on our self-esteem in the sense that we still want to be independent and do things on our own. It's kind of it's a thing about pride. So, when we talk about PWDs, I think the word that is almost always attached to it is accessibility. And
Yeah.
accessibility is the degree in which something can be used and enjoyed by all individuals, including PWDs. It's about ensuring that everyone can access information on an equal basis, regardless of our ability or our impairment. And so I think one of the best things about living in a digital era is the technology that we have now to support accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have now something called assistive technology, which are softwares and equipments that we use to help and enhance our daily living for PWDs. And for our blind community, I guess one of the most common assistive technology that we use is something called a screen reader. Right? So can you help us understand what screen readers are and how you use them?
So we're very fortunate that we are now in the age where we have these tools, we have these softwares that could assist us or that can help us to access information independently. And one of this is what you call screen reader. And I would say that if not for screen reader, I will not be probably be able to do the things that I'm able to do now and even before. I mean, like, yeah, I was thinking this that if I've been blind before this technology, I'm probably doing something else. I'm not sure whether I will be as productive, as successful as I am now, if not accessibility software like screen reader. So screen reader is basically, yeah, it's from these two words, screen reader. So this is the software that you could install to any kind of ordinary computer. And what it does is like whatever you do on the computer, whether you type something or you browse the internet or you, yeah, send email, it would speak out everything that you do. So, for example, if you type the letters and if you want to read a document, it will speak out for you. So that's basically what the screen reader does. This is how us blind people are able to access information via the internet. And it's not just limited now to computer, even smartphones has this feature now, whether it's an Android or iPhone. So even those devices has now a built-in accessibility software that us blind people can use.
Yeah, true. I agree when you say that you question whether you would be successful now if you hadn't been exposed or introduced to a screen reader. Because just looking back on my like educational years, like in high school when I was doing my exams, they kind of just enlarged my exam papers, but that didn't really help me because I had trouble reading text on paper anyways. So
Mm.
enlarging it, although it did help a little, it didn't really help much. Right. But then fast forward to my college years, it was just like a few years after that, I was introduced to a screen reader and I used that to answer my exam papers. If I was using the physical papers,
Mhm.
physical exam papers, they would just extend the time for me. When I was using a screen reader, I mean, they still extended the time, but not as much because I could still kind of do my work efficiently and answer the exams efficiently just using the computer. So not only does it help in learning, but it also helps in answering exams.
Yeah, true, true. When I was in college, well, at that time, I still can't afford to buy my own computer and also
Mm,
to have my own screen. And commercial screen readers cost a lot. I think more thousands of dollars, right? So
mm,
at that time, like I had to rely to my classmates to read the books because I was studying in a regular university, and of course the textbooks, right? It's all printed. So at that time, I had to get the help of my classmates, and they would read the book for me, and then I would record it using a tape recorder. So that's how it was back then. And fortunately, I think towards the end of my college year, that's the time that I was able to have my own computer. Yeah, I mean, assistive technologies like screen reader is really, really a big help, especially when it comes to education. It really allows you to become independent in terms of your learning. And at the same time, yeah, I mean, it levels the playing field in terms of education and learning, where
Yes.
at before you have to rely someone else to read it for you to, and then you would have to record it, things like that. So you
Mm.
kind of limited. But with the screen reader, with assistive technology, basically it opens a lot of opportunities for education, and of course with education comes with, of course, career advancement when you go out to the workforce.
Yeah, I agree. And you remind me of a funny story when you mentioned that you needed someone to read something out for you and then you would record it. And then sometimes I used to get my sister to read things out for me. But it's not that she reads slow, it's just that I've already trained my ears to for like fast. When you listen to screen reader, it's like faster. So sometimes I
Yeah.
just say, it's okay, I'll have my screen reader read for me. It's just faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to share a sample of what a screen reader sounds like for our listeners who may have never heard it before. So I'll just pull out a page from our Genashtim website. And what's great about screen readers is that it also tells you whether what it's reading out is a link, a header, or just general text. So here it is.
Professional development. Genashtim is proud to offer professional development programs in collaboration with eCornell. Link get started now. Heading level 2, welcome to eCornell. Welcome to eCornell, your online link to professional education from Cornell University. Collaboration between Cornell faculty experts and learning experience. Heading levels, link get, heading level 1, advance your career.
All right. So I know for many of you, you're probably like, what the heck was that? Was that some kind of alien language? But no, I promise you it is English. And to prove it, I'll slow down the speech rate just a little and replay the text.
Rate 45, rate 40, rate 30, rate 30, rate 25, rate 20, rate 15, rate 10.
All right.
Genashtim is proud to offer professional development programs in collaboration with eCornell. Link get started now.
And that's it telling me it's a link.
Heading level 2, welcome to eCornell.
And that's a header.
Welcome to eCornell, your online link to professional education from Cornell University.
There you go. And so, for the more experienced users like Villy and myself, because we've been using screen readers every single day for years and years, we've trained our ears to be able to pick up and understand the words when it's speaking in a fast pace. And other than being able to change the speech rate, you could also format the voice to be a male or female voice. You could have it read in a different language. You could even have it read in a specific accent of that language. And yeah, like Villy said, most devices these days come with a built-in screen reader of some sort, in laptops, in tablets, and phones. And yeah, this is what we use to navigate our daily professional and personal lives.
So let's go back to our main topic today of e-learning. So have you taken any e-learning courses before or are you taking any currently?
Yeah, I've taken quite a lot, and I'm also currently taking some online courses. Right now, our organizations is going into sustainability opportunities, so I'm trying to get myself also equipped with that topic, and basically anything that would interest me. Again, with the use of screen reader that allows me that. Yeah, online right now, it's like so many things that you could learn. It's basically you can't make an excuse that you can't know or you will not be able to eat that you don't know, right? I mean, like
Mm.
for example, YouTube, right? I mean, you just go on YouTube. The thing about YouTube, sometimes there are some videos that you don't even need to watch, and you just listen to the speaker and you would be able to follow what he's trying to say, right? Yeah. And also another one is TED Talk. Every now and then I listen to that. Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, those kind of online courses. So I take online courses, and also it doesn't have to be formal. As simple as YouTube videos. You can learn a lot of things there. I mean, there was a time like I wanted to learn how to brew beer. I listened to this video of how to brew beer, but I was not able to brew beer. But at least got me interested. So like I learned how it works or how it's being done.
Yeah, yeah. I think like all these learnings is just at the tip of our fingers now. Like there is really no excuse saying you don't have access, barring the people who don't have internet access. But for those who do, it's really at the end of your fingertips. Right? It's just
Yeah.
whether you want to take the initiative or not.
Yeah, even using a smartphone, right? I mean, you can be everywhere, you can be anywhere, and you can still access and learn new things, with just as simple as a smartphone. Like, and again, you can watch YouTube videos, and those online course platforms. They also have apps, that you could access anywhere as long as you have internet connection.
Yep, true, true. So, what has your experience been like with e-learning? I mean, have you encountered any challenges with e-learning?
I would say relatively, I would say it's pretty much accessible, but there are just every now and then that you might encounter difficulty in, say, for example, accessing some quizzes that are, say, for example, flash based or graphics, those kind of activities that has intense in graphics. So again, our screen reader is mostly relying on text, right? It only reads text. If you have, a course that it has a lot of graphics, then that's going to be, a challenge here. Or, say, for example, if it's a video and if the speaker would just be pointing here and there or saying this and
Mm.
that, then that's going to be a struggle. But I think a lot of online courses or a lot of online programs right now are aware of that, people with disabilities, and they're trying to, address and making sure that their platform is accessible not just for people with the visual impairment, but also other disabilities. Well, whether it's mobility impaired, whether it's speech impairment, or other disabilities.
Yeah, true, true. Like for the hearing impaired, also they provide transcripts now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one of the interesting things here is that you were also, as you mentioned, a teacher, a history teacher back in your early days. So that's quite interesting because you've experienced education from both ends of the spectrum. So you've imparted wisdom to people as a teacher, but also consumed knowledge as a learner. So, but not only that, you've also experienced a physical teaching and learning, and also experienced virtual learning and teaching. So, what are some of the differences and similarities that you've experienced in both setups, both as a learner and as a teacher?
Differences, I wouldn't say more of the benefits. There are benefits of two. Benefits of online, of course, you have that flexibility. You have that learning or taking the courses anywhere, right? It doesn't matter whether you're at home or you're traveling or wherever you are, right? You can just go online and, take your course and learn, right? Whereas with physical, of course, you have to be physically there, right? You travel, you have to go and sit down in a class, get yourself in that, go to that place, right? And benefits of physical class, of course, you get to have that interaction with your teacher, with your classmates. But there are also online courses, online programs that tries to have that collaborative approach, and at the same time giving you that flexibility. They call it SPOC, or a small private online course. This is how actually the product we're representing is doing. So this is like a small private online course wherein you're still in joining an online class, a small group of learners, and you still get to interact with them, albeit in a different way. You do it via a discussion board, where that's the interaction, and it will be facilitated, or it will be guided by a facilitator from an actual person from the US. Whereas most of the online courses right now are, you could say, MOOC. When you say MOOC, is massive online open course. So it's basically just go online, do the course, watch the videos, take the quiz. That's it, right? There's no human interaction that's going on. So you could say that's a lot of, or at least 99% of the online courses are like that. There is no kind of human interaction that's going on. Whereas with the SPOC, or a small private online course, that's how it tries to give that collaborative approach or strategy for learners that they might be looking when they're in a physical class.
Yeah, true, true. I agree with that. All right. So we mentioned earlier that you are the head of our client support department. So can you tell us what the main job scope of team members in that department is? Because I understand that we also have a partnership with Cornell University in the United States.
Yeah.
So can you also tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So, as I mentioned a while ago, so we represent eCornell, or Cornell University's online executive education outside North America. So basically, we are responsible in processing learners right from the registration to enrollment down to completion of their courses. So basically, any leads or any inquiries about eCornell, we will be the one to attend. We make sure that, we provide the right information to the client, making sure that the program that they're taking are appropriate to their professional development needs. So yeah, so eCornell offers a wide range of programs, ranging from hospitality, marketing, project management, healthcare, data science, human resources. So yeah, those are just to name a few.
No, that's interesting. So yeah, you mentioned that, your team members are responsible for all the leads that we have outside of North America, which means that's a lot of regions. So it's probably a
Yeah.
large team that you manage. So what's it like to manage a large, diverse team of individuals?
So yeah, so my team members are basically we're scattered pretty much everywhere. I think we have people from Malaysia, we have from China, of course Philippines, Indonesia, to name a few. Genashtim as an organization, we are pretty much scattered everywhere. I mean, the only continent that we are not present will be the polar regions.
Antarctica.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so in terms of diversity, yeah, we're pretty diverse. I mean, not just nationalities, but we'd also age, gender. We're pretty diverse, and with that diversity comes with it gives you a different perspective in everything. It's not you're not just limited to your own perspective in terms of culture, right? In terms of think like how things work. Especially if your client are from the same country as your team member, they understand more the culture, they understand more the market. So yeah, that gives us that advantage because if my team will be just limited purely from the Philippines, then we might not be able to understand how Malaysian culture or Malaysian market or Indonesia, Vietnam, Japan, things like that, the people and their culture, their behavior, those kind of things that would be a factor in terms of availing our product.
Yeah, true. I think, just speaking of working remotely and remote work, to me, remote work is also another means of e-learning in the sense that, it's not the traditional way of taking an actual online course, but working remotely with people of diverse communities, you learn of other people's cultures and how they behave and why they behave a certain way. So, it makes you be a better individual in that sense,
Yeah.
and be more open-minded. So, yeah, you've been at Genashtim for 14 years, which is amazing. And many of our colleagues speak of the opportunities that they've been given at Genashtim that they may not have gotten anywhere else. So, has Genashtim given you any opportunities that maybe you yourself wouldn't have gotten anywhere else?
Yeah, I mean, quite a lot. I mean, I would say like I was able to travel abroad was with Genashtim. That's one of the opportunities I probably have not been able to have. Has it not been the Genashtim? And just one event, two actually. First would be this YPO Global Leadership Summit in Singapore. That was actually the very first time that I traveled abroad. Stayed in a very, very nice hotel there, Marina Bay Sands to be specific. So it's very expensive. I probably wouldn't be able to afford that if on my own. And yeah, and also APEC Summit in Vietnam. Thomas brought me there to be one of the speakers. And again, if not for Junash, I think I would not be able to be in that huge event.
Great, great. That's very interesting. So yeah, we're reaching the end of our session today. But I just want to touch a little bit on course providers, especially on online course providers. So e-learning is a very dynamic and ever-evolving field. Learners these days have very high expectations when they embark on an online course in terms of the content, the course materials, and overall experience. So what can course providers improve on, do you think, to make e-learning more accessible to PWDs? Because there's a lot of course providers out there.
Yeah, I think they just have to be more conscious about the different disabilities of people and with that disabilities that limits us in accessing courses because again if we are also a market, right? There was a study that there's a significant number of people with disabilities in the world and we are a market on our own that course providers or maybe even other companies that should also be take advantage and find out how we as a consumer of online courses will be able to access that. And I guess what the course provider should do is to get feedback from people or people with disabilities, or maybe have a kind of testers. Like they would get people from PWDs that would do an actual test of their courses and get receive feedback, right? Because if you're doing it from your perspective, from a quote unquote normal person, right, you wouldn't be
Mm,
able to understand how people with disabilities will be able to access that unless you are from a perspective of person with disability, right? So those kind of things, I think there should be a channel of where they can hear or they get feedback from people with disabilities, visually impaired, mobility impaired, deaf community, right?
mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's really zero disadvantage of reaching out to these communities and just asking them, what their needs are, how can we, help them out? Because like you said, we are a market, right? And if you don't tap into that market, you're just really, it's just a loss for your business or your service. All right. Well, thank you so much, really. That is the end of our discussion today. I really enjoyed speaking with you today and just hearing your insights and experience, both as a learner and as a teacher. Right. So
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, so as mentioned by Villy earlier, Genashtim is the authorized partner of Cornell University's online executive education program. So if you want to know more about this, hop on to our website at www.genashtim.sg/ecornell, where you'll be able to find certificate programs like human resources, leadership, marketing, data science, and ESG, just to name a few. So, thank you to all our listeners for joining in. If you have enjoyed this podcast, why not hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest episodes? Coming your way soon is episode 11, where we'll be joined by an HR specialist delving into the topic of digital transformation of HR for cloud based business. So, until then, take care, stay safe, and stay curious.